My next guest headlines LFA 28 against Jaleel Willis coming up here on December 8th. It is Evan Cutts joining me here on the program for the very first time. Evan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. It's nice to get to meet you here over the Skype.
Yes, it's very nice to meet you as well. And I got to say, I've followed your career for a long time, dating back to Fight Master. That's where I remember you from. I know you probably don't want to talk too much about it, but
no, that's okay. No, that's
what was that experience like for you, getting to do that show at such a young age?
Oh man, no, it was cool. It was a full immersion into what makes this sport great, getting to meet some really, really cool, high level, talented guys, and get to have some trials and tribulations and some ups and downs, and get to be put to the real test against some guys that are even veterans of the sport. So I mean, it was cool. It was a really cool experience. I was happy to do it. My business partner Johnny Bedford did the Ultimate Fighter experience, and I think the two were very different. At Bellator, they really were trying to focus on how do we train, how do we get ready for the fights, what were the game plans, and the way they treated us during the filming, I think, was a little less stressful. It seems like the Ultimate Fighter, they're really trying to push that high string environment. I guess that's what I'll say about it.
No, that's interesting. How long was filming for that? Because I know it was a little bit different, like you said, than the Ultimate Fighter.
It was a little over 6 weeks.
Okay.
A little over 6 weeks, almost 7. Nothing crazy.
Okay, fair enough. Do you still keep in touch with anyone from that show?
Facebook makes it so easy to keep in contact with everyone now and then. We'll like each other's posts, or I'll see something, or it's cool to still keep in contact that way and have that outlet.
Yeah, for sure. Were you surprised at all that Bellator didn't make more of an effort to keep you around? Because I thought you were one of the guys on the show who came across really well and was obviously a young guy. I figured they would have invested a lot of time in you.
They gave me the option. I thought at the time, honestly, I had an injury a little bit from the show, so I was going to have a layoff. And I took that layoff, and it was nice. And then I figured, hey, if I can make some noise, maybe get to fight for some different high-level promotions too. There's nothing wrong with Bellator, but I mean, there's other promotions that have done a really, really good job of branding themselves as the MMA promotion to be in, and Legacy or LFA is now the #1 feeder to that. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and you fought for Legacy before. You referenced that there, obviously, close to home, getting to fight there. And now here you are with LFA. How did this come together with you not only competing for them, but headlining this card, man? It's a big opportunity.
I'm very blessed to be able to have some relationships with people that know people at the top of LFA. Colin Cantrell's a great guy, and he's worked plenty of times with Johnny Bedford in our camp. Levi Miles comes out of here as well, and so does Delvin Miller. So I think we do a really, really good job of keeping in contact with the guys who help us and, promote ourselves and help our camp. And I think we're pretty easy to work with. We're easygoing guys. A lot of our guys need to draw out or get injured. So it seems like, when we say we're going to fight, and promoters like that.
Yeah, and of course, you're taking on Jaleel Willis. He's undefeated. He's got the 8-0 record. Did you know much about him before taking this fight? Because I know he's been a mainstay sort of for V3 fights.
You know what? I didn't, but it's such a big sport nowadays. It's not just a couple of us fighting in a backyard anymore. It's, people are coming from, all around to come out, and, the best are meeting the best. I've fought 2 undefeated guys of my last 2 fights, and I'm on a win streak right now. So bring on another undefeated guy. I want to beat someone who's used to winning.
Yeah, no, for sure. How do you feel like you match up against Willis now that you've had a chance to sort of assess him as an opponent?
Man, it's interesting. My last 2 guys I fought were strikers, and I'm not gonna lie. I like fighting strikers. I know it sounds weird. I feel like sometimes I get beat up by strikers a little bit, but I like fighting them. I can really capitalize on my grappling and really make some things work for me. He looks like he has a really good wrestling base and a really good takedown, and he's fast. But I don't know if he wants to take me down, man. I have a lot of submissions off the ground, off my back, not only from people shooting in on me and taking me down, but me also reposturing, regaining guard, and being able to throw up submissions from guard too. So I don't know if his camp is going to try to capitalize on his explosive speed and try to stand up and strike and bang, or if he's going to try to keep his distance and throw and, win fighting or striking exchanges. But we'll see. I mean, it seems like he grinds out a lot of guys. His last 3 wins, I believe, were all decision wins. So, he's obviously trying to finish him. He's throwing with bad intentions. I'm watching. But still, at the same time, man, I think if he, tries to take it to the ground, that's really where my home is.
Excellent. How's training camp going, and who are some of your main training partners that are helping you get ready for this fight?
Training camp is going well as always. I feel really lucky. I got some experienced coaches up here. Brandon Quick is one of our coaches. Really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, and then Johnny Bedford obviously is a UFC fighter, Division I wrestler, and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So having those two guys to lead the camp really helps. I have some guys up here. Julius Holmes is one of my training partners. Lynn Bentley is a name that probably people haven't heard on the scene for a while, but he's been to M1. He's fought at the Ultimate Fighter. He's one of my training partners. I have some other really good jiu-jitsu training partners here too. I go strike at a local gym called All American and box with some of the guys up there as well too. But now I get around, do most of my camp here in Texas at Fitness Fight Factory, which is the gym that Johnny Bedford and I own together. But man, I feel good. I have a good home camp here. I mean, there's usually 4 or 5 black belts on the mats, and then guys with good pro MMA experience that are here all the time.
Nice. I love how you're plugging the up and comers. I always think that's good because we need to know these names. You know, because they could be fighters in the UFC at some point. So I love hearing the props there. How did you end up linking up with Johnny Bedford initially? Because obviously you guys train together and now you own a gym together.
How much time do you have?
However much you need. It's cool with me. How far does it go back?
Man. Yeah, it goes back pretty far. So I guess. Like I'm a nerd at heart, man. I like Dungeons and Dragons. I like video games. I like to do things like that. You know, so in high school, I guess I wanted to just learn how to advocate for myself a little bit better and learn how to just be a little more confident. So I went to the local karate gym, and I did that for about 2 years. And then I wanted to test my karate. I wanted to see if it worked, right? You know, because everybody at some point is like, hey, we're throwing in the air at each other. So I went and I went to the local hangout, and I picked a fight with another young man. It did not work out for me well at all. So we actually, you know, we were scrapping. I guess there's a police officer that saw us, so he pulled us aside, basically told us, hey, that's something you probably shouldn't do. I ended up doing 52 hours of community service at a local horseback riding place. Actually, no, dude, it was the best thing for me at that age. It was really cool. They use horseback riding as therapy for kids with special needs.
Oh, cool.
So I learned, dude, at 17 years old and realizing that just basic mental health is an incredible blessing in life, you know, it's a good reality check. But I don't know, I somehow conned my parents into like, hey, if you guys want to let me box or let me
yeah, I wouldn't have gotten in trouble, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten in trouble. I wouldn't have to test it out. I would have had, basically I would have told them I would have had real competition as an outlet. So there was a local gym called LA Boxing, which is now actually turned into UFC gym franchise, if you're familiar with those.
Of course, yeah.
But Johnny was working with one of those locally in Texas. I was 17 years old at the time. I walked in. I kind of gave him a little bit of my story, and I was like, man, that competition is something I eventually want to do. And it was cool, man. It's been the best thing for me. I tell everybody that enters the gym, you know, doing this as a sport, doing real combat sports will change your soul. Like I was not a very confident child. And I think everybody deals with a little bit of insecurity, and even now still, you know, just because I do professional fighting and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that doesn't mean that, you know, there aren't still things that we all deal with on a daily basis. But I feel very blessed that I have an outlet that it can check my ego, you know, it can build me up, make sure I'm not built up too high, you know, keep me humble in some ways. But I trained with Johnny all the way through to my amateur career and pro career. In 2010, he opened Fitness Fight Factory. In 2013, I had the opportunity to buy in. His ex-wife and my wife were sisters, so we were married to sisters.
Oh, weird.
For a little while. So yeah,
I mean, weird in a good
kids,
way. I'm not saying
yeah,
that
no,
way. Yeah.
No, you're good. But no, yeah, his kids are my niece and nephew, and my kids are his nephews. So, you know, it's cool. We'll own a gym together and do combat sport lifestyle together. And, you know, some other guys at the gym that, you know, we all spend a lot of time together, do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments on the weekend and referee with Brandon Quick. So get to hang out with him and his kiddos. But, you know, that's what it's about, you know, is building a team of people around you to be a support system for each other, man. And again, when people come into the gym, I try to sell them not only on, hey, this will change your soul, but this is an instant group of like 100 people that, you know, love you already, you know, just because you're here doing this with us.
Yeah.
They want to help support each other. We all want, you're in an environment where everybody wants the best for you. man, is crazy that not everybody has that. You know, sometimes people, even at work at their day jobs, they're worried about people trying to steal something away from them, you know, or, you know, take advantage of them in some way. And, you know, it's nice to not have that somewhere.
Cool. I love hearing that story. I think that's really cool. But back to your fight, December 8th, how do you sort of see this fight ending?
You try to visualize a couple ways, right? You know, I visualize catching submission off the takedown. But then again, I also visualize like, man, maybe I'm having trouble submitting him. Maybe it's headed to a crazy decision. Maybe it's time to throw a crazy flying knee and then, you know, try to catch him in the scramble. So, you know, maybe flying knee knockout, maybe, you know, a submission off a takedown. Who knows? You know, the one thing I do know is I'm incredibly hard to finish, and it looks like Jaleel is too. So this is either going to be the best 15 minutes of fighting that's going to cap off the end of 2017, or it's going to be a cool finish with some really, really technical grappling in it. So, you know, we'll see a couple different outcomes.
Are you looking at this fight as an audition for the UFC? Because it seems like LFA headliners especially are the ones who get picked up.
Man, with social, well, first of all, LFA is an incredible organization, and yes, but also with social media now, every fight is a audition for the UFC. Yeah, now with social media, every fight's an audition for the UFC. I mean, if you go out there, you do something crazy, or you get a cool, crazy win that has the opportunity to go viral and really pick something up.
Excellent. You mentioned video games there. What are you playing any right now, or was that just in the past?
No, man. That's me knowing myself and knowing my addictions. Like, it's easy for me to, like, I played World of Warcraft, so it's easy to like disappear for 8 hours then come back. I still build and paint some models for a game called Warhammer 40,000, and I'll play that. Like, I literally played like 3 or 4 games of that this past year just because it's some effort. Like, it's a tabletop war game, so you like have to go meet up somewhere, like set these models on a table and use measuring sticks and dice to see what they do. Kind of like a combination, I don't know, of like Dungeons and Dragons and toy soldiers. I don't know, like I don't have a better explanation for it. But if anyone wants to Google that, I guess that you can waste some time reading about that. But that's about the only hobby outside of this that I have just a little bit of time for, man. But even that, dude, it's, you know, I have 2 kids, a wife, and a gym. And the cool thing is because I know what I love and I know what I'm meant to do, I get to kind of align all of that in a singular path and kind of run down that path in life. You know, I'm trying to create my own life where I can have my own business that my wife can work in, and then my kiddos can be, you know, somewhat restrained, maybe in the lobby, but, you know, eventually when they're older on the mats and be a part of the team, and then a couple of years of public school, and then now that homeschool is incredibly easy with technology. You know, I'd like to eventually do homeschooling and be able to take my kids with me to training camps and be able to leave and get out of the gym more. And really, my 15-year plan is to prop up some other leaders in the gym and be able to lead those young men to be able to do their own gyms and work in some consultation or own a couple different fitness fight factories. But in order to do any of that and to make any of it work, first I have to go as deep as I can into being a mixed martial artist and being a pro fighter. Because before you can go wide, man, you have to go deep. Because then otherwise you're just like not getting anywhere. You're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, for sure. And the next step in that is coming up here December 8th. It's LFA
Yes,
28. It is live on Access TV. Evan, this is a lot of fun. I really appreciate you taking the time, man. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. And if you got any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, yeah, I'm really easy to follow. I actively use Facebook. My Instagram is @thebutchercuts with 2 T's, CUTTS. My sponsors, I have Elevation Health. That's my chiropractor, man. He like takes care of me 3 times a week. He makes it able so I can have 100% efficiency in training camp. I've literally had my best 2 training camps ever and my best 2 fights with these past 2 fights with these guys. Fusion also sponsors us. They're a cryotherapy, Fusion Wellness. And then let me see, Texas Odd Jobs is another one of our sponsors at the gym. So you can check all of them out online on Google. Again, Facebook, Instagram for me. I really don't use my Twitter as much anymore. I do have a Twitter handle if you're interested in following it. But no, yeah, man, that's about it. My beautiful wife, Katie, my 2 kids, and then, you know, thank you, God, for letting me do it.